and welcome to another mod showcase review. And today we're actually going to be doing a little special one for the benefit of our lovely Atlanticraft friends. I've noticed that there isn't actually a good enough mod review out there for this particular mod that I'm about to showcase. So I'm going to be doing it, and the showcasing mod that I'm going to be doing is the TARDIS mod. So let's get on with things because there's a lot to show you. Okay, so in front of me, as you can see, we have a load of crafting recipes and a few other things from a few different mods. That down there is the sync mod, but I'm not going to go into that because it's not really needed now. This is going to be used later on. So, right, this first of all is how to craft the lovely key that you can see over there. Now this is the most important key you will ever need. This is the singular most important block of this mod. Now this key is what brings on the TARDIS. However, you can't just find this key anywhere. No, you've got to craft it, and to craft it with this crafting recipe. But this particular item called the Contron crystal, this is the crystal that is going to be hard to find because this is only found in dungeons and any other mods that you have, like YouTube statues, like the Crazy Crafted Atlanticraft guys have in their mod, and you will find them in there, but they're a bit more common in them statues. But as for dungeons, that's the only other place you're going to be able to find them. And if you, saying that, you can actually craft them, but you can't craft them with anything normal. So I will show you how to craft them a little bit later on. But this is the crafting recipe to get the all-important key that you'll need. So moving on, we have what is called, now what is this called actually? This is called a temporal laboratory. And this is the thing you're going to need to actually create the Contron crystals. But you can't create one of them until you're inside the TARDIS. And to create one of them, you will need this. You'll need 6 iron, 1 gold, 1 redstone, and 1 glass. Now, yeah, that is a standard recipe for vanilla stuff. But when you place this block down in a normal world, you'll see this happens. Nothing. It doesn't light up. You can't use it. So, it's no use in the overworld. However, inside the TARDIS, it will be. Again, this is a landing pad. So let me just get rid of this block. This is a TARDIS landing pad. And this is how you craft it. Now this is Darlacanium. And I believe this is, what is this? Chronosteel. And both of them can be made through the temporal laboratory as well. But I'll show you all the crafting recipes once we've got a TARDIS actually. There's a diamond there and a redstone block in order to make that too. Now this, which I've got behind me, will come in handy later on because we'll be using that in a bit. But this is what they call a TARDIS recaller. It's a recall device. So if your TARDIS gets lost or you die in the overworld and you haven't got the ability yet to recall it with, well, I'll explain in a bit. Basically this will, you can use your sonic screwdriver, I believe, on this block, and it will recall the TARDIS back to this location. Again, another vanilla crafting recipe, but if you have got other mods, it will use other mods in this crafting recipe. But yeah, it's 4 iron, 1 lapis, and bone meal. And moving on to the last block, which is a gravitational block, is iron, chronosteel, and Darlacanium. So let's move on, shall we? Because obviously we need to use some of these items. Now we can't use some of these items without getting ourselves a TARDIS. So, oh, I love that noise. So if we get ourselves the key, we're going to head into a nice open world. area. So using the sync mod, here we go. We're going to fly all the way to our outside location. So here we are in our outside location. We are not inside that building. Just wait for the world to load in. There we go. Sort of. Okay. So here's our TARDIS key. And what we do is prepare yourselves first of all. Let me just adjust the distance and some of the other details. We do have everything off there. Yes, that's good. Oh, I don't want to change the language. Animation's off. Everything's off. Okay, so here we are. Right, ready? So here we go. We're just going to literally click down. There we go. Wow. That was a bit laggy, but oh well. Oh, the doors materialise on the opposite side. So, in we go. This a minute to load. And we are now inside the TARDIS. Wow. That's a weird noise. I've never heard him make that noise before. So anyway, here we are inside the TARDIS. I'm just going to literally turn the sounds down, just in case it is a little bit too high for you guys. So, let's see. As you can see, it says my name up there because it is my TARDIS. And these controls, as you can see on the screen up there, this will change the console room. So I want to have it as David Tennant type TARDIS. And there we go. We have a David Tennant TARDIS. Fantastic. Now already waiting for me, we have this. This is our sonic screwdriver, and as you can see, it has a couple of configurations: reconfigure, schematic mode, or dismantle. Now it only has 3 for now because obviously we're in the early stages. We are only level 0 of the TARDIS, but we are going to well, I might as well put that in there. This is how you change rooms, so you can make different rooms. Now we're going to make a library, so I'm going to take that out now. There we go. If we change that there, you see it says library. Click on the door, and here we go. Now this is the library room. This is where you find out everything you need to know about the TARDIS. However, I did notice there are a few things that we need to cover for our good friends the Atlanteans. So one thing is the lab. I was going to show you the temporal lab first, because this is the thing we're going to use, well, you're going to use at some point to create the Darlacanium and the chronosteel. So here we go. The chronosteel is just iron, and you put it to the into the lab, and out comes the chronosteel. Darlacanium is gold. Comes Darlacanium. The chronotron crystal is diamond and a ender pearl. And temporal dirt, well, to make temporal dirt, it's one of the greatest temporal activity inventions to a farmer. It generates a chronon field above it while inside a TARDIS. The dirt can only be generated by combining a large quantity of dirt, a medium quantity of bone meal, 1 chronosteel and 1 chronotron crystal, whilst the lab is under the effects of the time vortex. So it means that basically these will only work when you're travelling through the TARDIS in time and space. So okay, so you need 64 dirt, 32 bone meal, 1 chronotron crystal, 1 chronosteel to make 2 temporal dirt. Now I'm guessing that will mean that it'll really be an amazing farming tool, but I don't know. So we will go through all of this at some stage, but not today, because today we are learning how to fly the TARDIS. So this is going to be a couple of parts. Today's part is the flying, taking off, drifting. Oh, I went into the wrong part. Drifting mode. So it's basically drift mode is the ideal training ground for new TARDIS pilots. It allows you to gain experience using the flight controls without using any Artron energy in going somewhere. It allows you to, in mid-flight, to pause to make corrections to your coordinates without incurring the energy cost of getting up to speed again. It can also be used as a security measure to keep people from getting in by rendering your exterior non-existent. Now, I will say this. Our lovely Atlanticraft friends actually put their TARDIS in drift mode. This is what controls the actual drift mode. Now, in this side of the console, when the Atlanteans did their Exploding TARDIS episode, they had this button out here, which means that it's in drift mode, and it will just constantly fly and 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 fly until the end of time. Now, they got out of the drift mode because they actually pulled the handle down, so that got them out of the mode. However, this is the fun part. They wouldn't have gone anywhere, as far as I believe, anyway. When you're in drift mode, you're just in stable space. When you land it, you should be exactly where you were again. So, let's test this theory. Now, we are outside on a beach. So, here we go. We're going to go into flight mode. Now, this is the what's called a temporal primer. You have to do the temporal primer first, then the helmet regulator, and finally, we need to release the quantum handbrake. Now, off we go. And it's quite loud. Now, as you'll see, the TARDIS will start exploding. Now, that's normal. It's normal to have the TARDIS exploding. Now, what you won't see is you won't see the effects on my screen because I've got the effects turned down. But you'll see that we're just basically going in one place. We are in drift mode. That's the whole reason why. So now, if I pull this handle, we should land. Well, we're now level 1 as well. Now, we have now landed in the TARDIS. Now, we should be exactly where we were. It refuses to open for some reason. That's not nice, is it? Is it because it's locked? Okay. My TARDIS doesn't like me. So I'm just going to be very nice to my TARDIS and just literally take off and land again. If you do obviously encounter something like this... Oh, I forgot I was in drift mode. There we go. I forgot I was in drift mode. Now hopefully it should let me out. There we go. It has. It's let me out. And here we are. We're back exactly where we were. Yeah, there we are. We are exactly where we was when we first left. So now I'm going to actually show you exactly what happens what the Atlanteans did. So they changed the coordinates. Blah blah blah. And okay. So and they also put it in drift mode, which is this one. So once again we're gonna go and do this. Do this. And we are going to go like that. Now, we are now in drift mode, like I said. We will take off. However, we won't go nowhere right now. We are technically just arriving in space. So if I was to pull the handle down to land, now bear in mind I did change the coordinates. I love that sound, I love it. Okay, so we've landed. Now we should be exactly where we was, I believe. Oh. Yep. Now, exactly that. So, this is the fun part. If anyone's watched the episode with the Atlanticraftians, they will now know exactly what will happen. They changed the coordinates, they took off, they were in drift mode, they pulled the handle down, and they were about to walk out the door. And now you know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to walk out exactly where they were when they got in. So I know that's going to spoil it for you, but unfortunately that's just the way it is. That's because they were in temporal drift mode. So, I'm going to show you how to fly the TARDIS properly. Now, first things first, if you want to save where you were, which is what I'm going to do, the first thing you need to do is use this control down here. Now currently, it's in push down, but as you'll see now, when I push it up, it'll be in save mode. So I'm going to sorry about that, guys. For some strange reason the video froze and it did skip a little bit. So I'm going to say exactly what I'm about to say. So you pull this up and it's in save mode and you press one of these buttons like that and then you save. Of course, what I just should have done really was I should have done this. Then save it, because this is the current coordinates that we are at. Put it in, and now let's change some coordinates. So on the z-axis we're going to go to 2043. We are also going to go to change this to 4285. Now, as the Atlanteans discovered, you can't go to another dimension without having 2000 energy. However, one other thing that we should also point out is the fact that these controls now that's your height level. So these buttons here, this one here controls whether you land on a landing pad or you ignore the landing pads. We're going to ignore landing pads because we haven't got any. And this one it says land in midair or land on the ground. Now if we did land in midair, whatever the y-axis is, we would land in the air if it was too high. But because we want to literally land on the ground, if there isn't any ground below, we're going to instruct it to land on the ground so that we basically land whatever the highest part of land is. So if the highest part of land is 60, we won't land at 76, we will land at 60. So I think that's a good thing because it means that we won't fall to our deaths if we can't fly like the Atlanteans can. So again, we do our temporal primer, we hit our helmet regulator, and off we go. So just like the Atlanteans, we will have to keep an eye on the blue switches, at least for now. Oh, there's one. Oh, that's not good. Oh dear. Oh, I'm not good at this, unfortunately. Ow. Oh. This does require two people, really. Oh, no. I'll just press any random things. Or at least try to. Oh, no. Now, one thing is, if you do actually hit the buttons, your experience will go up. Ow. Oh, shoot, mate. I still left myself in drift mode. No wonder why I wasn't going nowhere. I made the same mistake the Atlanteans did. Like I said, if you hit the buttons when they light up, you will actually gain experience and level up. And one other thing is, oh yeah, it's landing now. You will notice this. This is a relative coordinate switch. And you can either go to absolute coordinates or relative coordinates. And that basically means you can either go exactly where you're told to go, or close by. So, we are now landed. Now later on, as it goes on, we will actually have a screen here to say which way we're facing and whether it's safe. But for now, we just take potluck. So, let's go outside and find out where we are. And there we go. We have actually moved. So, as you can see, the world's just loading in on the map. As you can see, we actually have moved quite a lot to the coordinates that we told it to. It probably has been thrown off by a couple of blocks because of the explosions, but for the most part, it is exactly where we told it to go. So, for now, for this part, we are finished, because that is how to fly the TARDIS. I've told the controls, the main controls. There are a lot to learn about the TARDIS and the actual mod itself, so we'll learn all that next time we do the next review. So I've been Mainsy, this has been the TARDIS mod, part 1, how to fly the TARDIS properly. Goodbye!